Hey, what up guys, it's Dan. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to take your putter from this to this by adding 45 caliber shell casings to your putters. But first, you have to watch the most epic intro in golf history. Alright, so I don't even want to tell you guys what the budget was for that intro. It was, well, it was extravagant. But as you can see from the quality of the intro, it was worth every penny. But let's get to the video at hand. So we're going to talk about putting 45 caliber casings into the cherry bombs of your Scotty Cameron putters. The first thing you're going to need is 45 caliber casings. And what you see me doing here in the video is cutting off the shell right below the primer cap. So I'm cutting off the part that I actually want. And I'm going to make a quick note here. If you're not a gun person and you don't know, please, for the love of God, do not do this with a live ammunition. Please, 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 please don't. You will injure yourself. You could cause all kinds of problems if you do this with live ammunition. And even if you pull the projectile out, there's still going to be gunpowder underneath in the primer. So please, please make sure that it is an expensed shell, a shell that has been fired. Do not do this with live ammunition. It could really, really hurt you, and I would feel really bad for you. But anyways, once you've cut off the part of the shell that you need, what you see me doing here is grinding it down. I'm grinding down the excess material that I don't want. So you're not going to get a perfect cut right off the bat. You are going to have to do some grinding and removing some material off the bottom of the shell casing so that it will sit flat in the putter head and look correct. What I do is I just do it on a grinding wheel. It's not the most ideal way to do this. Honestly, the most ideal way to do this would probably be with like a mill, so that you can make sure that every piece of the shell, all three pieces of the shell casings are exactly the same width and the same diameter. But because I don't have a mill right now, I kind of have to make do with what I do have. And I'm assuming that most of the people watching this video don't have milling machines either. So you can do this with a grinding wheel. You can do this with sandpaper. There's lots of different ways you can do this. But please make sure that you wear some type of respirator, at the very least an N95 mask when you're doing this, because you do not want to be breathing in the massive amount of brass dust you're going to be spraying around the room when you do this. Okay, so once you've gotten all that done, you should have 3 pieces of shell casing that look something like this. They should all be about the same size. And I placed them in the putter here just so that you could have an idea of what it would look like and that they do fit. I know the one all the way to the right is off center. It fell out of the cherry bomb as I turned it over to show it to the camera. But I think you get the idea. This is kind of an idea of what it will look like, and that the 45 caliber casings do fit really well in this particular Scotty Cameron model. Not all Scotty Cameron models will accept this size shell casing though, so keep that in mind. The next step in the process is pretty much just cleaning up the shell casings themselves. Here what I'm doing, I do this barehanded on purpose. The reason I do it barehanded is so that I can feel the heat of the actual shell casing, and that lets me know if I'm leaving it on the wheel too long. Because with this brass, the wheel takes off a lot of material really, really quickly. And all I'm trying to do here is take out any nicks or dings just so that they look nice and clean, and then polish them up when I'm all done so that they can look great in the actual putter head. From there, it's time to epoxy them into place. So I just use pretty much epoxy you can buy anywhere. You can get this stuff. This is quick set 5-minute epoxy that can be picked up at Lowe's or Home Depot, probably Ace Hardware. Anywhere that you can buy, home good materials or anything like that, you should be able to find quick set epoxy. The big thing is make sure you mix it really, really well. Because it's quick set, it's not as strong as long set epoxy. And so if you don't mix it very well, you're not going to get a good bond. And that could create issues with the actual casing staying in place. So that's really, really important. From here, what you need to do is add a generous amount of epoxy to each of the cherry bombs. This step right here, just take your time. Try not to get the epoxy everywhere. It's a giant pain in the butt to clean up if you make a mess with it. So just take your time and make sure that the epoxy is getting into the cherry bombs and nowhere else. And then there's one step that I failed to put on video, and I apologize, but I want to make a quick note. This is very, very, very important. Make sure that you scuff up the back of each of the shell casings that you've cut up. Those 3 shell casings, you need to scuff up the back of them before you apply epoxy to them. Because if you don't and you leave them smooth, they will eventually fall out of the putter head. So please make sure you scuff them up so that they will stick to the epoxy. Now that we've completed that step, we can start to actually put the shell casings onto the putter head itself. So here, I've already scuffed up the back of them. I know you can't see it in the video, but I did put scuff marks all over the back of each of the casings so that the epoxy would stick like I talked about. And now I'm just putting a little dab of epoxy on the actual shell casing and dropping it into place right into that cherry bomb. After I've gotten all 3 of them into place, what I like to do is flip the head upside down and with using pressure with my fingers, hold them in place for a couple minutes. I just hold it there for a few minutes, and that allows the epoxy the gravity to pull the epoxy down to the shell casings. And I have found that that creates a really solid bond that will hold them in place pretty much permanently. Every once in a while, I'll get a note from a customer that if, you know, after 3 or 4 years, one of the shell casings have fallen out. But for the most part, most customers have told me that they stay in place. I haven't had too many people call me and say that they've had those issues. After I've given the shell casing some time to dry, I kind of move on to doing my paint fill, and I continue to let them dry as I do the paint fill. And because I've already done tutorials on paint fill, I'm not going to show a whole thing about how to do paint fill on putters. You can watch my other videos on that. But I do want to make a quick announcement. So on some of the past videos that I've done, people have asked me in the comment section if I will do restorations on their putters or customize their putters for them, or if I sell these putters. So the answer to those questions finally is yes. I am going to start doing work for different customers again. I haven't done it for a very, very long time, but I'm going to start doing that again. But I'm going to have more information in that in my next video, because in my next video, not only am I going to announce how you can send me your putters or how you can get your putters customized by me personally, I'm also going to be doing a big putter raffle. So all of that information is going to be in my next video, which I should have up. It'll probably be a week or so, maybe 10 days before I get that next video up. But I'm already working on it. I've already got some of the filming done. I just need to get it all put together and edited. But guys, I hope that this video was informative for you. I hope you learned something, that it taught you something. And one other quick note, if you're still watching at this point, I am actually in the process of buying a tabletop mill. And once I have that tabletop mill done, I am going to produce these shell casings for the public and sell them to the public. So I'll cut them down, get them all cut to the exact same width and diameter so that they're perfect, and then sell those off. But until I can get the mill, I don't want to sell them because I can't get them. It's just so difficult to get them absolutely perfect, and I don't want any customers to get anything from me that they feel like they're not going to be happy with. So once I get the mill and I can produce really, really high quality, consistent work as far as the shell casings go, I will start to sell those. So guys, anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you'll consider liking and subscribing if you did. And as always, I will see you guys next time. Have a good one.